How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. Bitcoin just entered crisis mode. It is spiking up today. It's up to now $123,000. Now it's come down a little bit to $122,000, but we're hitting all-time highs today. And there's so many big things happening, so many milestones being hit. I want to go through exactly what's happening today. If you have any specific questions, let me know down below in the comments. Maybe I can address them in a future video. But Bitcoin is looking fantastic. We moved up again, some short liquidations. You can actually see that right here. $625 million worth of shorts being liquidated over the last 24 hours versus just $125 million of longs. And that caused us to spike to new all-time highs. Like I said, it is in crisis mode. We have so many companies buying Bitcoin here today. A lot of institutions are about to get squeezed. So yeah, be careful out there. Before we get started though, there are links underneath the video. Weeks just reminded me that they have this trading competition, this Weeks World Futures competition. You can get huge amounts of prize money if you want. It's over the next few weeks. I believe Blowfin has 1 day left on their trading competition. There's a link to both these underneath the video. And of course, I really have been liking BYDFi. There's a link to this. You can actually trade crypto with crypto as collateral. You can do that over on Blowfin and BYDFi. All of these have great bonuses right now too. I think Weeks actually has a 20% bonus and this trading competition, which is kind of insane. So if you want to check these out, like I said, there are links underneath the video. If you hear something in the background, that is the Bitcoin baby napping on me. He's right here. And if you want to check out the Telegram group, there is a link to it underneath the video. I give early access to videos just like this. But yeah, let's start here. Bitcoin moving up again, liquidations coming in. We have obviously the Bitcoin ETFs opening in just a few hours, and they took in massive inflows last week. So don't be surprised if there's some buying pressure. Now that Bitcoin's moved up to 122,000, we talked about how much they had in AUM. It's gone up significantly, even just since yesterday. They're at $87 billion, which brings in $217 million a year, which puts this at BlackRock's number one ETF in terms of annual fees by 5%, which is crazy because just a few days ago, it was their third biggest by 5%. They need to move up, and now, Bitcoin spiked up in price. They pulled in some inflows. We continue to see so many companies buying Bitcoin as well. K33 purchases 36 Bitcoin. Sequans purchases 683 Bitcoin. Blockchain Group purchased 29 Bitcoin. Digital X deploys 19 million into Bitcoin. Metaplanet bought $94 million worth of Bitcoin, 797 Bitcoin. They're buying it at $117,500 per Bitcoin. We haven't even seen MicroStrategy's purchase yet today either. But this is cool because it shows you that there are entities that aren't price sensitive. And I've said this before, but countries are not price sensitive. These kinds of Bitcoin treasury companies aren't really price sensitive. They don't care if they're buying at 90,000, 100,000, 500,000, 20,000. It's actually easier to buy for these companies as the price goes up because they can say to their investors, hey, look, what we've done has provided a great return. We want to buy more. And investors, aren't always rational. They'll continue to buy as the price goes up, not when it goes down necessarily. And we've seen that with MicroStrategy, where in the bear market, they're actually able to stack a lot less Bitcoin, even though Bitcoin was less expensive. Because it's not like they're just sitting on a bunch of cash waiting, right? They have to raise cash as they go, or do various financial jujitsu to get their hands on more money, whether it's selling shares or financial products or it's cash flow. They can buy a lot more during the bull market. So they continue to buy more. Again, MicroStrategy will be announcing in a few hours. We also have the largest short ever for Ethereum. Ethereum leverage shorts going all in, biggest short ever on record. And this will end poorly, I think, for them, assuming we continue to see Bitcoin rally. Shorts will get liquidated on ETH. And keep in mind, there are a lot of people that are shorting like these different treasury companies. And they'll get liquidated too, which means these companies' prices will go up. and then they'll be able to buy more Bitcoin. So there could be such an explosive short squeeze. I mean, we're moving up quickly now, but we could move up quicker. Like, we could see moves like this, where we went from 110 to 118 in just a day or two. We could see that a couple times in a row with the shorts that could get liquidated. Now, of course, we could see longs get liquidated as well, because there are leveraged longs in the market that are fairly aggressive. So just be ready for some volatility. We have a big week. The U.S. lawmakers are going to consider 3 digital asset bills in what's dubbed as Crypto Week in Washington: the Genius Act, the Digital Asset Market Clarity Act, and the Anti-CBDC Surveillance State Act. Cover those in a video this weekend. But there will be some votes this week. Keep in mind, too, we have 2 reads for inflation, CPI and PPI this week. That goes on Tuesday and Wednesday, I believe. And then we have actually some big earnings later in the week. It's not just, I thought it was just banks, because usually banks announce first. But we do actually have some tech companies as well. So we have ASML on Wednesday. And then we also have Netflix on Thursday. So we're starting to see a couple tech companies, but mostly it's banks this week. And then a couple of the, slower moving companies like 3M are announcing as well. TSMC is also announcing on Thursday. So yeah, there's going to be some earnings that will indicate kind of where the market's going a little bit this earnings season. But Bitcoin's largely decoupled over the last week or so. Bitcoin's up today and the traditional markets are down. China also just printed more money. China printed 700 billion USD. As the money supply goes up, Bitcoin continues to go up. That's the main, one of my main theories behind Bitcoin doing well, is that politicians are inherently greedy. They're going to continue to print money to get votes and to backstop the economy. They don't want any kind of pain. So risk on assets and hard money is going to do well. That's a little bit of what Kobayashi, the Kobayashi letter says. Their big account, they say, this is not normal. We have reached a point where Bitcoin is moving in a literal straight line higher. Rates are rising. The USD is down 11% in 6 months, and crypto is up 1 trillion in 3 months. What's happening? Bitcoin has entered crisis mode. Bitcoin has reached a point where it quite literally is making new all-time highs multiple times a day. Since the U.S. House passed the President Trump's Big Beautiful Bill on July 3rd, Bitcoin is up $15,000. If the surge in gold prices didn't alert you, Bitcoin should. Bitcoin actually just overtook gold as the best performing asset of the year. This is something that I talked about when July 3rd came in, the Big Beautiful Bill got passed. A lot of people were giving me a hard time because I said that this was a huge deal, but Bitcoin wasn't moving that day. But I said, sometimes it doesn't move right away. This is huge because we're going to continue to see more money printing. And what do you know? We have made a big move since then. Does it get any more obvious than this? Take a look at the year-to-date performance of Bitcoin and the US dollar. These were 2 distinct points of divergence. April 9th after the 90-day tariff pause, and July 1st after the Big Beautiful Bill was passed. It's beyond clear. Heading into July, the market received data that the U.S. posted a $316 billion deficit for May 2025 alone. This marked the 3rd largest deficit on record, but markets remained hopeful that Elon Musk pushed back on the spending bill. But this did not last long into July. And it seemed that Bitcoin was rallying on trade deal hopes, but whether trade deals were announced or not, the market was seeing the same outcome. Yields are rising, Bitcoin is rising, USD is falling, and gold is rising. This is not a normal situation. We got ahead of this trend below our when they got in. Okay, it's really a double whammy for gold and Bitcoin here. The S&P 500 in Bitcoin terms is down 15% year to date. That's crazy. Everything gets cheaper in Bitcoin over time. Since 2012, the S&P 500 is down 99.98%. I'd say most people that are invested in the S&P 500 feel really good since 2012 because they probably made about 3x or so on their portfolio. But Bitcoin's made so much more than that. Bitcoin is not only gaining value, but the US dollar is losing value. Now, the US dollar oscillates So this is not like a very low value for it over, history. But yeah, it has gone down recently. Once again, watch the US deficit. It appears that institutional capital is chasing the Bitcoin run. Bitcoin, the BlackRock Bitcoin ETF has reached 76 billion in AUM in under 350 days. It took gold or GLD 15 years to reach the same milestone. Yeah, we've talked about this. So Bitcoin, when we say it has entered crisis mode, that isn't necessarily a bearish call for other assets. In fact, risky assets should continue to run higher as the short-term effects of more deficit spending are bullish. The long-term effects certainly are not. Yeah, so I won't continue going through this whole thing, but it does show a very interesting picture. There's going to be a crisis mode too, where countries figure out other countries have been buying Bitcoin and they feel like they need to allocate, or more likely to happen soon is financial advisors or hedge funds realize that other institutions or hedge funds or financial advisors have been allocating to Bitcoin. And they need to start allocating themselves, because otherwise they're going to get left in the dust. People are going to withdraw their AUM. As the price of Bitcoin goes up, it pulls in more and more people that were maybe not paying attention to it enough or didn't want to invest in it, and they're kind of forced to invest in it. That's bound to continue to happen, which will pull in more and more money. Looking at it now, it seems so obvious. I mean, you and I think, have realized what's happening. I've been posting about it for years. And yeah, we're going to see some volatility in Bitcoin. We're going to see it pull back every once in a while. Like, even if we saw a pullback to 110,000, I think that would actually be really bullish based on what's happened in the past. I'm not saying that we will go down there, but the last two big pushes up we've seen after the market chopped down and went to the previous resistance. What do I mean? Well, we went up to 74,000, then we went down to 49, which is right where we had previously gone rejected. Then we moved up to new all-time highs at 109,000. Chopped down all the way to 75, which was right at prior resistance at 75. So if we move up, similar to what we've done in the past, we might move up to 160, 150, and come back down to 110. And that could be a bullish time. No one's going to want to buy then. I can guarantee you, after a 30% drop, no one wants to buy. But that could be a good time to even get your hands on more on a nice dip. But right now, we're not seeing that dip, right? We're just seeing new all-time highs day after day. I just made a video yesterday explaining whether now was, too late to buy Bitcoin or whether it made sense to buy now. You can check out that video. I'll also put the video on the end screen where I explain how to day trade for beginners. Now, I go through there in that video that I don't really like day trading. What I like is swing trading. It's much safer. You can get better returns. It's less work as well. And that's what I've been able to do. You can see some of the positions that I've opened over time. And I use every exchange that's down below. I've been able to open up positions and try out different platforms for, a year plus. And you can see some of the returns after you're in the market for, a year, if you're able just to use low leverage and ride it out. 847%, 240%, 127, negative 15% on SUI, but 640% on XRP. And I've actually taken profits on a lot of these. And I'm still just letting the rest ride. So if you want to do something like this, like I said, there are links underneath the video. You can get some free money. You might as well get the free money. I don't think it's too late, but get off your butt and try it if you want to try it. Thanks so much. I appreciate it. Let me know your thoughts about this crisis mode, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.